What's up, you guys? It's Rob here. We're going to talk about ticker symbol AMC. We'll cover it on the daily, weekly, and monthly time frame for tomorrow's trading day, May 5th. Wednesday, hopefully Wednesday will be a nice day to us because I can tell you one thing, Tuesday and Monday definitely were not nice to us in the market. It was very red overall for the market today. And I really want to talk about why the market was red. And then I also really want to highlight the reason why that I don't really consider AMC this meme stock that a lot of people are talking about now, because it's really not this meme stock. It is definitely trading more towards normal growth in tech stocks. AMC really doesn't have a sector that it can be placed in right now, but overall, that's the closest sector that we can compare it to. So I'm going to definitely compare it to some growth sector and tech ETFs, along with some other meme stocks that we've been labeling. I'll also do a little bit of technical analysis so what we can see, what we might see here in the future. I'm definitely starting to see a trend within AMC, and I definitely think this sell-off will eventually end and we'll have a nice bounce up from it. But the huge thing I want to start off this video with is make sure that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure that you ring that bell too. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, really does. And then also I do have my Webull referral link down below. You do get 2 free stocks when you join Webull, valued anywhere between $8 and $1,600. You do get 1 free stock when your account is approved, and then you do get another free stock when you deposit $100 on the platform. And since you did use my referral link, I do get a free stock as well. And all that I ask is if you use my referral link, drop a comment down below. Let me know the free stocks that you get because I'm just genuinely curious. But let's go over here to the internet and take a look here. And the huge thing is Treasury Secretary Yellen spoke, and the huge thing that she was talking about was the fact that we might have to increase rates, or we might have to raise rates a little bit, which sent an utter panic into the stock market. And we all know that most hedge funds and everything like that have been severely shorting the stock market right now because they're like, valuations are way too high, expectations are way too high. Y'all are just going to keep missing. And that's the reason why we see tech stocks like Apple and Amazon do phenomenal on their earnings. They have like a 3% bump, and then they finish negative the next day, is because there's so much shorting going on in the market right now. Because the whiny baby suits are literally saying, oh, well, you're not going to be able to grow at this rate. Yes, that is technically true. We're not going to be able to grow at a 40 or 50% rate. But big companies like Apple will definitely see growth like 10, 12, maybe 14% year over year kind of thing. So that's really the huge thing that's going on. And we heard Jerome Powell talk about it too, that there's a lot of froth going on in the market. And one of the things that Secretary Yellen is talking about is saying that we're going to have to increase rates because there's a lot of froth in the market, and there's a lot of shorting going on, and there's a lot of leverage being used within the market. And one of the ways to increase and decrease that is to raise rates up a little bit. But as soon as she said raise rates, the market was like, oh no. And we thought that the hike in rates was priced into the market. Clearly today says that it was not. Because if we take a look here in Webull, the overall market was pretty much just utterly decimated. In the upper left, I have the SPY. Bottom left, I have the QQQ, which is the tech indices. For NASDAQ, we have AMC here in the upper middle. Bottom middle is GameStop. Upper right is RK. Bottom right is the Dow Jones Index. And the huge thing is all of these stocks sold off in the morning, had some sort of bounce, then sold off a little bit more, and then found their bottom, and then just grew into the close kind of thing. That's really what has happened with a lot of these. And this, again, is the reason why I'm highlighting that AMC and GameStop are not these meme stocks anymore. We can perform technical analysis on this. And people who tell me you can't perform technical analysis on it, you're just wrong. You can do it, and it is done, and I much prefer to perform technical analysis on it because that way we at least have an idea of where we might be heading versus just blindly walking into a room and saying, we're going that way kind of thing. And we don't know how that's going to treat us kind of thing. So, but let's hop back over here and cover AMC on the daily time frame and really take a look at the stock from a daily perspective. So the huge thing was we didn't touch our $9 support, which was good. We did break through our 925 support, and it turned into resistance for a short period of time. We did manage to retest it here a little bit before falling to our intraday low of 905, but we broke back through it to the upside and reclaimed it as support, tested it again as support here, bounced off of it, broke back through it, consolidated a little bit, tested it again, got rejected, so we consolidated for a good, I don't want to say consolidated, but we had a good bit of trading, and then we tested it here right before he broke back through it into the close kind of thing. So the huge thing to highlight is we had a nice pump here off of the initial open of the bell. We traded 1.421 million shares in the first minute, and then we sold off. You can hop back over here to the customized chart, and you can see that most of these had a nice pump, and then they all sold off kind of thing. So AMC is definitely trading similar to most tech and growth ETFs. So just keep that in mind. But the huge thing that I really like about today was we did drop below that $9, that 925 marker. We did fall to 905, but we got back above it at the end of the day, which is huge for the stock. We did close after hours at 927, so we are just above it. And you can see the sell-off here in after hours. But keep in mind, I pretty much take after hours in the pre-market with a grain of salt because the volume is normally so low. Unless if the volume is extremely high, then I might take it a little bit into consideration. But based off of those two, most of the times the volume is extremely low and I only really look at the intraday. But I'm going to really hop out here to the 1 month time frame, and we're going to really start talking about what we can expect next for AMC. And I've already got it drawn up a little bit here, but the huge thing that I want to highlight is we're starting to make similar patterned moves with GameStop, and not GameStop, with AMC. Is we're having these sell-off trends, and then we find essentially our ground here, and then we have a nice move up, and then we have a little bit of a pullback, and then we move in an upwards direction, have that retest. Now that's the huge thing, is we're following this pattern. We followed it back here, so we had a move, downtrend, move, downtrend, move, downtrend, move, downtrend, move, downtrend. So what I'm looking for in the next couple of days, honestly, maybe even tomorrow, maybe as soon as tomorrow, but I would say within the next couple of days, I think over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see AMC repeat this cycle again. Now, the huge thing that I want to see with AMC is, instead of getting to this $12 mark, get up here and try to retest $14.45. And then when we fall back to $11. We don't fall all the way back here at the $9 or $9.75 or $9.25 or that kind of area, because that would be a really unhealthy pullback. We do have the 260-day moving averages above our 15-day moving average, which does put us in bearish territory. We are definitely oversold, and the stock, you can tell, is incredibly uncomfortable at this point. Like most of today, we were on the verge of touching oversold. Luckily, we had that rally into the close, which really brought us back to 38.30. But we definitely were oversold when we had that negative move going into the morning. So keep that in mind. The stock is definitely oversold right now. We're primed for a bounce. And I think what we're going to see is, we're going to see this bounce. We're going to see a nice rally up here. 1130 is our breakout point. We can get up to 1130 and then do some nice consolidation before retesting $14. That's really what I'm be looking for. And the reason why I'm saying I want us to touch $14 is because at that point we would have what's called a double top. We would have a top here, and then we would have a top here. Now, if we get up to $14 and we get rejected off of it, fine. I'm okay with that. The huge thing that I want to see is that we either fall back to either 1222, which would be the high of our most recent peak, or fall back here to 1131. Now, if we fell back all the way down to $9, that would not be good for the stock, in my personal opinion. I want to see us fall back to this 1131 or 1222. That's really what I'm going to see. And I think, in my opinion, we could do this in the next 3 weeks. Keep in mind, I'm just some guy talking on the internet. This is just my opinion. I'm no financial advisor. None of this is financial advice in any way, shape, or form. But the huge thing, and the reason why I'm saying we're going to be going to the upside, is because we are making lower higher lows. I always get them reversed. We had 831 here, then we had our move to the upside, and then we had 912. Well, we had, what was this, $9 here that we touched? Yeah, 901 that we touched here. And then we have the touch here at 905. So we are still making those higher lows, which is good. So what we need to do is we just need to have that bounce and then a move to the upside. And I definitely can see this happening because we have followed this trend before. We followed it back here, and that's exactly what I'm seeing. It's just pretty much take a cut and paste to this, and it's going to take a couple of weeks for us to do it. But the huge thing is we can't be giving back all of it. Like, I don't want us to be giving back all of it. I want to really see us have this push up to 1445. We have a push up to 1222, and then we pull back to 1131. That's okay. But honestly, I want us to get above this peak, because if we're making a peak here and then we get rejected, that might be a bearish sign for the stock at $12.22. We really want to be making higher highs and not be matching it. However, we could match it and get another double top instead of like having a double bottom essentially, and get rejected from it and then break above it to 1445. That is entirely possible too. And keep in mind, this move to just getting up to 1131, it could be 1131 or 1222. And if we get rejected off of it, find support here at 1131 and then move up to 1445, definitely think that is a very bullish move for the stock, and it is absolutely possible for the stock. Now, if we take a look here at the day time frame, you can really see that we've been following these kind of the same patterns. We had the initial squeeze, we had a pullback, we had a nice top here, we fell down, found our base, had a nice run up, found our top, fell down, found our base. Essentially, we found our base here, and then we popped back up here and we found our top. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this is we had our top here at $14. Our most recent top is at $12. So technically, we have a lower high. So that's not technically good, and it's a trend that we want to break. And that's the reason why I really want to see us either get to this top here at 1223, and then either get rejected or just bounce all the way up to $14. That's really what I'm looking for. And if we can make moves like this, it would be huge for AMC, because we would absolutely just tear things apart, and it would make the hedgies really feel the pain, in my personal opinion. If we take a look here at the RSI, our RSI is sitting here at 45.41, and then we do have a bearish confirmation here on the MACD. So we definitely are in bearish territory. It's fine. I mean, on the day scale, we're still trading above our 60 and 200-day moving averages. Keep in mind, technical analysis isn't an exact science. It is a little bit more of an art. So we could absolutely bounce here tomorrow, and we would take this indicator down here and turn it bullish. Also, AMC and GME can essentially flip on a dime, especially when volume comes in along with strong buying pressure, or if we get some form of induced catalyst. You got to throw technical analysis out the window, because then we could essentially go up through the moon. So that's the huge thing with AMC. Next thing that I really want to cover is the meeting. The annual shareholder meeting was supposed to happen today, but it got rescheduled to July 29th. And the huge thing is AMC really wants to allow people to vote more on the meeting, which is very important to them. And Adam Aaron has talked about supporting the shareholders and all that kind of stuff. And the annual share meeting has been rescheduled to July 29th, 2021, and a new record date of June 2nd, 2021 has been established for the stockholders entitled to attend and vote for the meeting. So you can vote up to June 2nd. So keep that in mind. The company will deliver a new notice of the annual meeting to stockholders as of the record date. Oh, okay. So you can vote all the way up. I believe it's a couple days before the actual meeting. So we will get our notice on June 2nd. So correction there. We will get our notice on June 2nd, and we'll be able to vote essentially up to, I think it's like 72 hours before the shareholder meeting. So keep that in mind. Now, the huge thing is, the reason why they wanted to do this is they wanted to allow us to vote because AMC really cares about its shareholders. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other thing I do want to really cover is the short interest on AMC because it actually did go up today to 1.37%. We finally joined the 100 club again with our utilization, so we're back at 100% utilized. Our cost to borrow is sitting at 12.91. Our days to cover is sitting at 1.47, and our short interest of our free float is 22.98%, which is huge. Our current short interest is 96 million shares, and the exchange last reported on April 15th is 93.89. Now, the huge thing that we saw was our short interest actually decreased from a peak of 24 down to now it was 22.53. So we have seen an increase of it, which is good for the squeeze. Now, keep in mind, the shares on loan has also decreased, but I think a lot of this has decreased because a lot of people thought that AMC was going to pass this 500 million share dilution. So a lot of people decided to take out short positions and said, soon as they pass the 500 million share dilution, I'm going to put all my short shares into it because I know this thing's going to go to the ground kind of thing. So I think that's the reason why we have definitely seen a lot of shares on loan decrease. Now, the huge thing I also want to say is I don't think shorts are necessarily covering their positions. If they are doing it to such a minute position where it doesn't even touch the days to cover, because our days to cover as of Monday was sitting at 1.39 and we're sitting at 1.47. So it is still increasing. So the shorts are doubling down on the stock and continuing to hammer away on the stock. So this is still not a dead cat. Don't let all the FUD that is in the YouTube comments, that is all over the place, tell you that this is dead. It is absolutely not dead. Today we had 5.41 million shares borrowed, 3.4 million of them were returned, and there's an outstanding balance of 2.01 million shares. This absolutely can squeeze, but the huge thing that I'm looking for, and I'm just going to highlight it back here in Webull, is that we have some sort of bounce. We test 1131, we do some form of consolidation, and then we make a move towards our most recent high post squeeze, which is 1454. If we can get up to that point and test that point, I think that would be really good for the stock. If we get rejected, that's perfectly fine. Then I'm going to be looking for a 50%, only up to a 50% retracement of 1222 or 1131. I think that is absolutely viable with the stock, and I think that would be perfectly fine and healthy. It would put us in a position where we are making still our higher lows as we move forward, which is critical. We are definitely still in a bullish territory. The indicators, yes, say we are in a bearish territory, but overall the movement is consolidating. We just need to make another peak up here. The only bearish sign that I would see is if we got up to, like, let's say 1131 and we were heavily rejected off of it. And then the next time we tried to test it again, we were rejected off of again, because that would be that we went from $14 to this $12 high to like 1131. So it's not necessarily good. We want to be making higher highs. We don't want to be making lower lows, which is what that move would be. But overall for the day, for tomorrow, the huge thing that I'm going to be looking for is at 925. Can we find support at 925, or are we going to be breaking through it to the downside? If we can find support at 925, then I'm really going to be looking at the upside of 975 and $10. That $10 is really going to be a huge fight of that psychological and technical resistance. We know once we can get back above $10, the stock is very comfortable between 10 and 1050. So just keep that in mind. But really, I think we're ready to make another move. The pattern is just repeating here, and I think we're going to repeat the pattern again, and I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. And if we can have our pullback to 1131, this is going to cause a lot more pain on the hedge funds than what we're causing right now at $9. So just keep that in mind. But if you guys have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, feel free to drop a comment down below. I pretty much read all of my comments and try to respond back to each one of you guys, because after all, you guys are the reason why I'm here. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.